So Talen Horton-Tucker's been going off in the preseason so far. And even before he was getting minutes, you could hear things about how they really liked him. And the first thing that I notice is that he's got some real shot-creating skills. I mean, he's 6'4", he is listed at about 230 pounds, which is probably a little heavier than you'd like for a 6'4" guy. But Frank Vogel also said that he lost weight, so maybe he's not that heavy now. But I notice how good he is at keeping his dribble alive, and he's not the quickest dude off the dribble, but he finds ways to create space. And some of that could be because of the weight. I mean, there's one play where he has a straight right-hand dribble in the half court, and he gets by Patrick Patterson, or he pump fakes and gets Patterson in the air. But the way that he was able to get to the spot at all, I think he wouldn't have been able to do if he was like 30 pounds lighter than he is. So maintaining some of that weight is probably going to be a good thing for him. He had another drive against the Clippers later on. This is from the first game, where, again, it was pretty standard, just straight right-hand dribble, but somehow he's getting by people. And, part of it could be like he dribbles for a second longer than you think, so you kind of fall asleep for a second, and then he attacks on you. But then the way that he kind of shuffles the ball mid-gather to elude Zubac, who's in a pretty good position to protect the basket, it shows a real shot creator's mentality. And if you go and look up Horton-Tucker's scouting stuff, the thing that was talked about is he does have some real shot-creating skills. There was a pick-and-roll play that he had against the Clippers where he keeps his dribble alive longer than a lot of wing players would, and eventually he gets it to his guy cutting to the basket for an easy layup. He got a handoff play, and he busted out a behind-the-back dribble and then just kind of pushed Luke Kennard out of the way. So, yeah, Horton-Tucker certainly got something. And the big highlight from tonight for him was a step-back three to give him 31 points. He certainly got some confidence. He's willing to go off the dribble. And, I mean, we saw it against the Rockets, right? Guy gets thrown into a big playoff game, and he made a three. Did he make 2 threes? I don't remember exactly. But then he went off the dribble one time as well. And that takes a lot of guts for a guy who's barely played to try to make something happen off the dribble in a playoff game. And if you look at the scouting reports, they do suggest that his stationary three-point shooting would be good in the NBA, even if his free throw percentages and that sort of thing maybe not as good. So these are some good signs. If we think about the Lakers' rotation, can Horton-Tucker get some real minutes this year? I mean, we imagine the starting five is LeBron, AD, Marc Gasol, KCP, and one other guy. You can make a case for Matthews, Schroeder, Caruso, whoever you might pick. And then off the bench, you're taking 2 of the guys that I just mentioned, Montrez, Kuzma, Markieff Morris is still there. Now, he's listed as a 2-guard. Whether that really matters in rotations, especially now when wings are so interchangeable, I don't know. But if he keeps playing like this, then we can only guess that he could get some more minutes. Now, that all being said, when the regular season's there and you got LeBron and AD out there and all that stuff, it is going to be a bit more of, can you attack a closeout, can you make an open three, and can you not get killed on defense? Given Horton-Tucker's ball handling that I've seen when he's actually trying to score, I would hope that he can simply attack a closeout if teams leave him open to guard LeBron and AD. And as far as the 3 ball is concerned, again, scouts, even back before he was drafted, were saying he should probably be an okay stand-still, catch-and-shoot guy. As far as his defense, he was not exactly known as a defender coming into the league, but given that this team's whole thing was about defense last year, and Frank Vogel is a defensive coach, you have to assume he's been working on those things for a couple of years. I mean, Vogel would not have played him in that Rockets game if he thought he was going to get torched. And we saw LeBron tweet about him, we saw Jared Dudley tweet about him, Wesley Matthews. said the word special, which is probably overdoing it a little bit, but people seem to think that he's going to be a real player. And Frank Vogel said he's confident that Tucker can make an impact now instead of down the road. So we'll see, man. I mean, he's going off right now. There have been some fears that his shot selection is not so good. That was one thing if you dive into some of the scouting with him. And, I mean, if you're willing to take a step back mid-range, which was another shot he had tonight, on top of a step back 3 in the same game, yeah, you're probably prone to a couple of like, wait, what was that type of shots? And if he's in the rotation like that and he's sharing minutes with LeBron and AD, I don't think they're going to want to mess around with that too much, so we'll see if he doesn't do that. But, yeah, it seems good. Now, another thing to make note of with Tucker, and this will end up being more interesting if he proves to be a real rotation dude for them this season, but his rookie contract is actually up after this year, which I don't really know why, but it is, and he will be a restricted free agent, and it could be something to make note of. I mean, if he ends up averaging, let's say he ends up being a nice 10-point scorer for the Lakers this season, and he even has some moments in the playoffs or whatever, would somebody else offer him, I don't know, $9 million a season, and would the Lakers be like, well, we don't know if we're really willing to match that? It's something to care about, especially because they've got Schroeder's free agency coming up, they've got Kuzma's extension, that's a thing. I believe Caruso has a potential extension coming up, and the Lakers, they're probably not going to hold on to everybody. And if Horton-Tucker is going to be a real player for them, then it just makes all that a little tougher. And keeping up with the business side of all this, could Horton-Tucker be playing himself into being a trade chip for somebody? I don't know. I mean, the Lakers don't have a lot of tradable money in the sense of they don't have a $13 million guy who doesn't play. I mean, KCP's contract would be the best asset, and if Horton-Tucker's looking good, then maybe there's some like $14 or $15 million guy the Lakers would want. However, the Lakers cannot move their pick this year. I mean, it's top 7 protected. They're going to get the pick, but they can't move it because they technically already traded it to the Pelicans. So their only other option would be to trade a pick in the distant future, like a first in the distant future, which that's not a good idea. They can move some future seconds. I mean, I don't know, KCP, Talen Horton-Tucker, and a 2023 and 25 second rounders. Is that going to get you anything? Who knows? But he's looking good.